For those of you who don't know Feast, basically we were set up in 2018, formally launched in Chennai in August of 2018, though the company is registered as a non-profit company here in Singapore. In those 5 years, it's been quite hectic. We've had 2 conferences, the first here in Singapore, and then in 2019 we're in Bangalore. And if you're probably aware, if you've been on the website, that our 3rd conference will be in November in Jakarta. And we are actually planning, already discussing with our host for the conference in 2024. We've produced 4 anthologies of stories written by traditional folktales, but retold, written by our members, and everybody who signs up for the course will get a soft copy of the first 2 books. The first, which is based on food tales, has 15 food tales there, all from Asia, of course. And then the second one is called Royals Wise and Otherwise. It's not about Harry and Meghan. It's very much Asian stories, 25. So it's a very beautifully illustrated. So you'll get the PDF because, as she will explain, it's a very practical course, and at the end of it there'll be a showcase, and we'd like you to tell a story, and hopefully you'll find a story in one of those 2 books that you would like to share. Learning and kind of development has been really at the heart. It's one of the reasons why Sheila, myself, and Jiva Raghunath, who you will get to meet during the course, a special value add we'll talk about later, why we were so keen to try and set up Feast. And so we have staged, Pretty can give you the actual number, but it's over 40 learning capsules, or you might want to call them webinars, kind of dealing with either the craft of storytelling or the business of storytelling, which will surely appeal to you, Ashley, if you wanted to become more professional. You've heard about, we run this special interest group. We have another one for a podcast, which is currently in abeyance, but hopefully we'll get back up on its feet pretty soon. We have 2 mentorships running at the moment, one on eco-storytelling and one on adults, telling for adults. This is the 3rd year that we've run this, I think.
Yep.
It's very popular. We've got like 5 people. So Kieran is one of the mentors. I am, and we have Christine Carlton, who you possibly met, Ashley, during the conference, is one of our mentors this year. And this is an annual thing. We have 2 or 3 mentorships every year. So eco storytelling is the one this year. We've had it on like cultural and heritage sites, on telling to special needs, working with puppets. So we kind of keep mixing it around. We also run story swaps, and some of those are like the one that I mentioned that was on Monday of this week, which was open. Anybody could come and tell, and we had several non-members join us and tell at that session. And then there are others that are only for members, and these are either peer-reviewed, so that people will be there and can give you feedback, or else we have a guest coach who happens, again, it's Christine Carlton this year, and kind of giving those kind of, so it's a chance for you to tell a story and to get some very helpful feedback. So that's just a quick kind of roundup of what Feast does. We're a bona fide organization. We're not going to take your money and run away, and very kind of, as I say, committed to celebrating. We are the Federation of Asian Storytellers, which I think is also kind of unusual, because often the other organizations tend to be storytelling organization, and we've always wanted to put our people first. And when we are looking to do story programs, we were always thinking about adults or kids, and the 3rd stream is what we call our multilingual or mother tongue stream. We're very keen we want to give our members who are, have a mother tongue that isn't English, to have a chance to be able to tell a story there or to work bilingually. So this is something that is an important feature of our work, and it will be wonderful. We haven't had a story in Arabic yet, Faja, so I hope that will be something that we could look forward to having in the not too distant future.
Sure, of course. Yes.
Okay. So I think now it would be good for me to hand over to Sheila, who's going to, I think, just take you kind of give you the broad outline and what is the kind of concept behind the course that we're trying to do.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Can you see that?
It's coming.
Wait, let me see.
It's coming. Yep, here's.
Wait. Hang on a minute, because I need to make it full screen and it's not going full screen. Okay, there we go. All right, so this course, as you'll probably know by now, is a 10-session, 90 minutes per session. And we really wanted it to be, to give you really the fundamentals. That's why we call it the fundamentals, the most important grounding in storytelling, so that you can can start, after that you can take off. So in each of the modules, the 10 1.5-hour modules, there will be some theory, the important things which we wish we had learned when we first started, but had to find out from experience. But it's also there'll be lots of practical exercises. And we're very, very keen to make this a very safe place. So a lot of, most of the stuff that you'll be in breakout rooms with a partner or in a small group. And nobody is going to be pushed into something. We hope that you will take baby steps, one after the other, because some of you are baby storytellers and we need to build your confidence up. So let me take you through basically what we're doing. This is our brochure, which I will put into the chat. Although Pretty, could you do that? I put it in the WhatsApp. Could you put it in the chat so everyone can download it? So really, this course is based on learning one story. But through that one story and through the work we will do with that one story, you will learn how to learn any story effectively, and how, a lot of the skills will come through that. So we've already talked about what you will get, okay? Oh, but I should assume, Roger didn't say everything. So
I wanted to leave you something to say, Sheila.
Okay, right, thank you, Roger. As Roger said, that there'll be stories that you can see, and we're giving you 4 of our learning capsules, which I think you will find quite useful. Those are just free. You don't have to watch them, do anything with them to pass the course. It's just extra resources that you can make use of. And also we're trying to build up a little, sort of thing of e-resources that you can use. We will have a dedicated website page that you can access. We will be using Google Classroom, so that there will be one place you go to and you can get to these resources on our website through that. But also, we will give you during the pandemic, I spent 6 weeks of my time making a video workshop on, it's called Dive into Storytelling. And it was aimed at secondary level students, but it works for adults as well. And it's really how to learn a story. So in a way, there is a crossover, there's an overlap, but there are other things that you might take from that, and generally that's just an added resource. It's worth $900 in Singapore, but you're getting it for free. And okay, so Roger, Kieran, and myself will be the trainers, and I presume that you've already seen the fees. So non-members have to pay for 480 Singapore dollars. But the feast members only pay 400. But if you're a non-member, you get a free 1-year community membership. So there's a value add in that 480, but it's still cheaper to be a member and join the course. So as I said, Roger, Kieran, and myself will be doing the modules, but Jiva will be giving each of you a 1-hour story coaching free. Now, Jiva usually charges for this, but she's giving, and you can take that up anytime up to 3 months after the course, whatever you want to. Jiva is a founding director with Roger and myself of Feast, and she is very much an international storyteller. She's been invited to festivals all over the world. She is a very, very talented lady, and she's a very observant lady who is very good at, finding how to help you and coach you. So that's why we did it. We did it this way, that she will give you story coaching. Now, you can read all this. This is all about us later. But let me take you through the course timetable and just give you a taste of what we will do in each of the sessions. So I start off with the first two, and really is a getting to know you, and the sort of what we will do is look at why storytelling is such an effective communication tool, why it works, what is happening in the brain of the listeners. And there I can tell you there is a lot happening in the brain. And how is storytelling different from other performance arts? And also we will look at, because storytelling is not memorization. So it's very much a balance of improvisation and preparation. So we'll look at that. And then in the second module, we'll look at types of stories that are most suitable for oral telling and some effective ways to learn a story. We actually start to, I think about working on our story at that point. And I will be doing something on vocal expression to help you see where your vocal expression is, yay, it's already fantastic, and where perhaps you can do a little bit more to bring it up even better. And then Kieran, do you want to pipe in, Kieran, and tell us what you're doing in
yes, certainly. So after Sheila does her introductory bit, we're going to go and explore the story that you would have chosen and go deeper into how to go about learning to tell that story. Sheila mentioned baby steps earlier on. We like to nurture very gently in a way that is comfortable for you. And there's so many, because we all have different learning styles. We'll also make sure that you learn in the way that is most suitable for you. Yeah. And you're all adults, so you know what works for you. Even the choice of your story, why do you choose the story that you choose? There are always reasons behind it. Yeah. So you're going to learn about how you go about choosing your story, and also then work deeply into the story that you've chosen and how to make it tellable.
Yeah, so you can see.
And then for the next session also, there'll be a little bit more on storytelling for different audiences, for children. So Fajar, this would be of great interest to you. Again, this is not sort of written in stone, because there will be things that come up in the group. And while we have this structure guideline in our minds, we are open also to perhaps like, oh, how about this? And how about this? Yeah. So again, depending, and I always believe that there is collective wisdom in the group. It's not just one way. We learn together as well. Yeah. So that's 2 of my sessions with,
yes.
Yeah.
So then I come back and we will be having to, we'll be talking about what you need to know to be an ethical storyteller. And, you wouldn't, I never thought that this was a thing, but it's a thing. And there are things that you can do that are really not ethical, and you might not even imagine didn't even think about it. You will just blunder in. So we just want to show you, you know, the things you have to consider when you are doing storytelling publicly. Okay. And then I will do a bit. Story structure is one of the things that I really love. So I'll be doing a thing on story structure and how you can use that to make your telling more effective, and also begin to start to think about details for your stories, because where you put details, when you put the detail, how much detail, what sort of detail is very important. It has a different effect on the audience. And again, there will be practice. I should tell you, I should have told you this before, but all three of us, Roger, Kieran, and myself, will be there at every session. Okay? So we are very good at chipping in. So you actually get trainers.
And also, if I may add, there will be overlap, yeah, because we want to flow into the other, but have that connection going. So there might seem to be repetition, but repetition is important, yeah.
Yeah. And so then, how about you, Roger? You'll come next.
Well, Kieran's just set it up for me, hasn't she? Because she's talked about repetition, which is, of course, often a very important part of traditional stories. And so, what I'm going to look at in session 6, particularly, we start off with these ways that we build the interactivity, how we connect with our audience. So, we are aware, of course, that we are running this online. But we also are thinking very much about you will actually be telling, in person, on site somewhere. So we will be looking at these ways that you can involve your audience physically and vocally through the story. And also talking then, I guess because I came originally from a theatre background, so characterization and dialogue is something that I guess I'm particularly strong with. So we'll be looking at that and finding how you can create dialogue, because perhaps in the source material that you have, there may not be dialogue there. So you want to find different ways of working that in. And then in the next session, again, linked to, if you like, the kind of dramatic or theatrical approach, thinking about creating the spatial awareness of your landscape. And it can be something even just as simple as, where you are looking. At a story swap not so long ago, we had someone who was telling a story about a Thai farmer and a giant. And she was just looking like this. And we just stopped and said, where's the giant? Oh, right. And the moment that you do that, the giant is there. So thinking about that, how we create that kind of physical world, and where you incorporate gestures and so on, and help to make the story a visual experience as well as an oral one. All right. And then the last one is for me, or session 8, before we get into rehearsing your actual presentation, we'll consider our openings and our closings, because not all stories are going to begin once upon a time, and certainly not all stories, particularly if you're telling for adults, are going to end with they lived happily ever after. And so to look at Sheila very wisely mentioned there, at the start, that it's this balance between improvisation and preparation, and probably the two places that need preparation will be your opening and your closing. And that's what we'll be kind of getting you to think about and explore different ways of doing that. And then having gone through all that, hopefully then in session 9, we'll be putting that all together. We'll be working in the breakout rooms. You'll be sharing the story, getting feedback, not just from, again, this will be the advantage of having the three of us, plus probably Jiva and Priti there to give experience feedback, but also, of course, from other members of the course, so that then you will be ready for the 10th for what we have grandly called the graduation showcase, at which you are most welcome to invite family, friends, significant others, future festival directors, I don't know, whoever else you want to invite to come and listen and to see you in action. Okay, so that's the basic structure of the course.
Can I pipe in?
Yeah.
Because I want to make it clear. So the graduation showcase, I mean, it depends how many people we get on the course, but if we get a larger number, that obviously you can't have story after story after story. So what we will have, we will on the 26th of October, we will have, everybody will come into the meeting, and then you will be put into breakout rooms with your guests and some others, probably from Feast. And so you will have, it won't be sort of like if we have 10 people, it won't be 10 stories one after the other. There will be, it will be a shorter and more reasonable number of stories in that. And also I should point out that I don't think this might not affect anybody who's here today, but there's some people who will watch the recordings. There is a big Indian festival on, and we have a lot of members and people from India in October. What is the festival called again, Kiran?
Dussehra.
So we do realize that, and people will be involved all day and may not be able to come. So we will probably, if needed, schedule other times for the rehearsal around there that won't interfere with the festival. Because we try in Asia. There are lots of festivals, there's a lot of culture, there's a lot of tradition, and we want to respect that and work around it for everybody's good. But there will be the normal one as well for those who, at 4:30 Singapore time on the, is it the 19th?
Okay, thanks very much, Sheila, for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wonder at this stage, I think we should answer questions now. I haven't looked at the chat to see if we've got any questions in there.
No.
Not yet. Okay, so this is your chance. Anybody who has a question? Yes, Ashima.
Let me make sure. So, like your the final presentation, showcase presentation. I mean showcase. We have to miss if there are too many presenters, right? Too many tellers.
No. What Sheila means is we'll break out into, let's say we had 10 people, we'd have 3 breakout rooms, 3 and a 4, for example.
So we can't
see everybody.
To the ones in other rooms.
No.
Yeah, but
we will record it. We can record it,
okay.
and we'll. So yes, of course, I think that's important, and maybe, I mean, we haven't talked about this, but just hearing the drift of your question, maybe we might then have a post-course chance for us to reflect and for you to share and to say what, because I think probably on the day you're going to be high, you've got to tell. You want to be able to, chat and get feedback with your friends and so on. So that after that may not be the right time, I think, but then it would be a good idea, Sheila, Kiran, if we then said, a week later, we could come back and people could, give us feedback and talk about it. And you could compliment each other because you'd had a chance to see what people in other break rooms had done and give them their feedback too, which would be nice.
Thank you.
Particularly because I think because each session there will be time when you work on your story and you'll be in a breakout room with 1 or 2 other people, so you will have seen how, for example, let's say Ashley is working on her story and you'd like to see how where she gets to by the end, right? And so it will be unfortunate if on the day you don't happen to be in her breakout room. So we absolutely have to give you that chance to see how the other members, because I think you are going to get very close together. This is not going to be a huge group. We haven't mentioned we're absolutely going to cap it at 20 max because we want to get to know you. We think we need to have that. We want to have that relationship with you. So yeah, good question. Thanks, Ashima.
And Michelle is asking about the hours. It's 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. and they're all on Thursdays.
Yeah. So that's why we had this meeting today at this time, because if you can make it today, then hopefully you can make it any time.
But okay, I should say now, because also for those people who aren't here but want to watch the recordings, there are some people who do have real difficulty in attending the workshop, but really want to do it. So we thought very hard, and we've kind of come up with a solution. It's not ideal because I think the joy and the richness of coming on live is something that can't, is very precious. But for those who can't come, we will give them the recordings and they can follow the recordings, and they will have to find somebody to do the exercises with. And also, just to make sure that they really don't fall behind too much, if you can't come to, out of the first 8 sessions, if you can't come to 2 of those, then you also have to do my Dive into Storytelling workshop. Okay, and you have to. It's designed to be done very independently. Some of the things are done just on your own, but for the second 2 modules, it's 3 modules. The second 2 modules, you have to find a partner to do an exercise with. But that could be anybody, could be a family member, could be a friend. It's just somebody to work with you and spark off. So they would have to, and the modules are, the maximum is less than 30 minutes of presentation and less than 30 minutes of work you'll have to do. And some of them, the presentation is only 20 minutes or 18 minutes or something like that. So it's not a huge long course. But in order to get the certificate, if you don't attend live, at least 6 of the first 8, you have to do this. And then you have to do the rehearsal, which will probably work for people, because the rehearsal one we're being flexible about, but you have to be there for the 26th for the presentation. Now, anybody can sign up for the course and watch the recordings and just watch the recordings. That's fine, but you won't get the certificate. So if the certificate is important to you, then that is what you have to do. But we hope to be flexible, because it is difficult to get for over so many weeks to get people to come.
Yeah.
Does that help, Michelle?
Good, thanks. Faja, you have your hand up.
Yes, thanks, Roger. I just wanted to confirm something. So just listening to everybody talk about that final project and practicing on a specific storybook, because I do plan to select a couple or 3 storybooks from my library here in Kuwait before moving to the UAE. So you're looking for storybooks that follow a traditional plot, right? Because some storybooks and some picture books don't really have a traditional plot.
Okay, can we stop you, Faja? I think we've got a miscommunication
Oh,
here,
yes, sorry.
which is very, very common. This is a very, very common. What we are doing here is not reading aloud. We are telling stories without a book.
Got it. Okay.
So the reason, because picture books, because they were crafted by the author and the illustrator, generally they don't work very well for oral storytelling. Because once you take the illustrations away, sometimes the text does not stand up very well on its own. And also we need to honor those picture book authors, the illustrators, and read it as is. So what we do is we take, generally, we work with folktales, because that's a good place to start. That does not mean that when you do storytelling, you have to work with folktales. But folktales have been told for literally thousands and thousands and thousands of years. and they've survived by word of mouth.
Right.
And so there is a structure there. There is something in the story that is strong and is easy to tell. And so we work, that's why we're working, we're going to give you these books, these 2 books of Asian folktales that have been rewritten by Feast members in a way to make it tellable. Because there is a difference between a literary, a folktale that has been written in a literary fashion for reading and one that you tell. So our members who contributed to these anthologies did a lot, half the work, and so these stories are already kind of prepared for oral telling. But then you need to make these stories your own, because we don't want you to memorize it and tell it in the way we want it to be your story, out of your personality, out of your interests. What things do you emphasize or de-emphasize? What details do you put in and things like that?
Yeah.
So then you will learn a method for learning any story. And you can use that when you are using your picture books and you are telling them in a dramatic way. The skills are transferable.
Right.
Yeah. But
Yes.
we're taking you the next step beyond picture books, which actually is one of the best ways to promote reading. I've been doing this for years, and so has Kieran, working with early childhood teachers and with the libraries to use storytelling to promote books. And my goodness, it works. One of our mentors, we just heard this morning that she died, Dr. Ann Pulowski, who is a very famous American folklorist and storyteller. She started out in the New York City Library telling stories, because the New York City Library realized that telling the story and then showing the book was the best way to promote reading.
Wow. Yeah. And so, Sheila, how do you feel about then using wordless books?
Well, yes, because you have to use the story. You have to use the story, but we can't do that in this course because there is a level of sophistication in the stories that we've chosen.
Oh, lovely. Okay, great.
And so it would be difficult if you work with one person, like if you work with Kieran alone. I mean, I'm sure she could give you lots of ideas and how to shape a story, but it doesn't quite. There's stuff. Because the thing is, what we're doing here is we are taking words and we are helping you to reimagine them so that they live in your imagination. And it's like, it can be like, for those people who have imaginations like that, and not everybody does, but it can literally be like a film running in your head. And you are creating new images, new textures, new smells and sounds. That story, so it becomes much richer. Whereas if you've got the thing with a picture book, now I'm a great promoter of reading aloud because but the thing with a picture book, and we learned this, Kieran and I learned this from Dr. Rebecca Isbell, who is an early childhood professor at ETSU, East Tennessee State University, where they do masters in storytelling programs, that actually in first language comprehension is better if you don't show the picture.
Interesting.
Yeah, you should look at her studies. This was back in the 70s. And it's because when you show a picture book, the brain focuses on the pictures and they don't absorb the story. If you have no images, your brain creates the images, and it's very active use of the brain. So what I recommend for people who are promoting reading, which is what you are doing, is to mix and match. Do a bit of story reading, and then throw in an already told tale. So you get the best of both worlds.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but perhaps, Faja, when you're now a member of Feast, we can think about either having either a special interest group just to look at the idea of working with wordless books, because yeah, I love using them too. Or we might even have a one-off webinar or something, learning capsule, that looks at ways of using wordless books to trigger the kids to create their own stories or to make them up around that. Okay, so if that's the case,
that's a good idea. Don't lose that idea.
so we'll get Kieran in with her, the Jeannie Baker Appreciation Society. We could just do that.
I am writing that down, and I'm going to go after it.
Very good, very good. So thanks, Faja. So I mean, this is something that again was a very deliberate decision on our part, that we want to make those of you who are not members of Feast, that you will get this year's membership. Our membership goes from July 1 to June 30th of the following year. And that means that you would then, let's say, if you wanted to sign up, we either for an individual one-off learning capsule. If you're a non-member, it's $13. If you're a member, it's $6. So it's a huge saving. Or you could sign up. We do a special discount package so that you sign up for next year. There are going to be 7 webinars during the year, and that's like I think $32 for the whole year. So this kind of thing, you'll be eligible for those kind of discounted prices. You would be eligible if you wanted then next year to apply for a mentorship. You would be able to do that. As a community member, you would be able to take a mentorship for like it's 50 Singapore dollars. You would get 5 sessions with the mentor. It would not be one-on-one, but it would be a small group, 3, 4, 5 people possibly on whatever the topics is. We haven't finalized those for next year. And just to be part of this, the community. And I think it's one of the things that we are most heartened by is that people do feel that when Feast gets together, we are a community and that we share. It's one of the things that we have, Sheila and I and Jiva, and I know Kieran is with us on this totally, Pretty too, of the idea of sharing. We want to share our expertise. We want to share our experience. We love sharing our stories and nurturing and helping people. And this is an ethos that runs really all the way through the organization. So this is there. Whether you take it up, this is completely up to you. There's no pressure on us to do that. You will just have this membership that will run, as I say, all the way through to June of next year. And unlike Amazon, which is now being sued for making it very difficult to cancel your membership, we don't have auto renewal. So we won't, you won't be stuck with us forever if you decide you only want to do it for once. So yeah, so that's one of for us, we see this as a perk. We'd love to see you at we have, I would say, probably 3 or 4 monthly events. Monthly. So, there's lots just to kind of keep you in touch, and you'll get to recognize faces, you'll make contacts with people. Storytelling is a very social thing, isn't it? Are there any other questions about the
hand up?
Yep.
Oh no, we still can't hear you. What you
type it in.
Oh no.
When shall I decide on the story that I'll be practicing throughout the course? Yeah, absolutely. There'll be time. I think when you register, you will probably receive the PDFs for the 2 books or a link to those 2 PDFs.
We
okay.
will send them out because we got two. Faja is already registered along with Miru, her friend. Yeah. So we haven't sent them out yet, but we're going to send them out soon. So I think from now on, we will send them out with the registration. So
you can then start browsing through those books. The stories are all, very short, probably only, 3 or 4 pages max, probably. So they're not going to take you a lot of time. And then I'm sure that in Sheila's opening session, she's going to be talking about how do you know which story is the story for you? you know, and it's a bit like if you take part in you know, America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent or something, you know, and Simon Cowell's always saying, you know, it's about the song choice, isn't it? It's about the story choice. That's a really important question. Do not jump into this. For those of us, I mean, I'm sure Kieran has said this as I have to my mentee in the mentorship, the adult mentorship. Don't feel that you've got to commit to the story right at the beginning. We've talked about it, and what are your options? Why do you like this story, and so on. So that's the kind of conversation that we want to be having, and that you'll be discussing. And it's fine to say, well, I can't decide. Do I want to go with the, you know, the king who can't decide what food, whether he wants a very special meal, or do I go with the story about the dumplings or something? You know, so this is fine. Don't rush it. Don't rush it.
Yeah. Sorry.
I just want to say one thing, that your lives will be enriched. Just as I found storytelling enriched my life all those years ago, decades ago, I should say. And the thing is, you're constantly learning. You're always learning. So I had Oshima as my first mentee in 2021. You know, I'm learning from her. And in fact, my new mentee this year has chosen a Japanese story. So I said, Oshima, join in and give us some cultural details. So you see, my new mentee this year is learning from Oshima. Isn't this wonderful? So we're just a wonderfully collaborative group.
Mm-hmm. I want to address Zip's second part of her question. She said, will there be time each session of us to look particularly at one aspect of the story and build up our skills around it? Yes, that's basically what we are doing. You know, in each session, you will work on one aspect. And, you know, we would also encourage you to tell the story to your family, to your friends, to go for a walk and tell it to the trees, you know, because the way to learn storytelling, I always quote this, Kieran and I, and, you know, have a wonderful mentor, a teacher, Dr. Margaret Reed MacDonald, and her mantra is tell it some more, no, tell it again, tell it some more. That's how you learn storytelling.
Yeah.
It's all through the telling, and each time you tell, you learn something about it. Yeah. But so that's what we want to build that up. So you will get multiple opportunities, perhaps not to tell the entire story every time, but to work on a chunk of it and really, you know, help develop it. So during the week, you know, you would want to reflect on it. What did I learn? What can I think? You know, think about your story and, you know, have a go in between. There's not like, we're not giving homework, but it would help if during the week you do reflect on your story and maybe have a go. Yes, Pretty.
So part of my role in all of this is to be your delighted listener. So if during the week or any time you feel that you'd like someone, a peer, to listen to your story, and I give fairly decent feedback, you could contact me or you could contact anyone and you would have one of us. Of course, you can contact each other because that is fun. But if you would want, you know, say 2 of us or 3 of us want to get together and you want to practice the whole thing or a part of it, and then you want to come back to our mentors and talk to the group, that is also an option. We didn't introduce Pretty's role properly. So Pretty is going to be our Zoom tech, but she's also she's not been a professional storyteller for very long, but she's been telling stories in her work as in executive training, and she's also a coach. So she's been telling stories for many years. And she's also going to be the facilitator for you know, help facilitate the rehearsals and things like that. So she will be, when we go, maybe if we have to go into 4 breakout rooms, Pretty will be in one of the breakout rooms. I am the hoverer, basically. I'm going to hover over all of you.
Yes.
And likewise, when you Sheila mentioned right at the start that Jiva is very generously offering this one-on-one coaching. So all you need to do is, it could be this story, it could be another story. You just record it on your webcam, email it to her, and then arrange a time when you can sit down on a Zoom with her, and she'll give you that feedback on a story. And again, if you say, I'd like to, how can I make this more accessible to preschoolers or whatever it is, then that's what Jiva will try and address with you. So again, that is a really, Kieran and Sheila and I, we began and we kind of had to learn it the hard way, didn't we? We didn't have those kind of opportunities to get that kind of feedback really early on. And just to have someone giving you that kind of guidance and attention is really powerful. And, Jiva has her own festival. So if you impress her, you could well end up getting an invitation, but, whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, Ashima.
I have a question. For like the sessions with Jiva or like with the teachers, like official, outside the class telling session, do you provide Zoom room or do we have to make it ourselves? Because I don't have a paid Zoom thing.
Oh, we can do that. We could certainly facilitate that for you. Not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Except that we'd probably ask you just to record locally, because we want to be careful. We're finding we've been hit now and again. Zoom has come up with a very clever way to make more money, even more money, because if you go over whatever it is, 30 gigabyte or something, then they start charging you extra. So, but yes, we can certainly set up the meeting.
Yeah, it's good. We don't want to worry about time. Oh, you only have 5 minutes.
Exactly.
more.
Sure.
Yeah.
No problem. We'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, and even if we've got another meeting, a feast meeting, I've got a sort of a package, Zoom professional one. I think Pretty's got one as well.
I do as well. So
so we can
arrange that. Great.
Thank you.
Good.
It's not a problem.
Well, are there any more questions?
Do you think I should take this course?
Of course. What do you think we're going to say?
Could you just encourage me with a reason?
Okay, one, you're already a good storyteller.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but I don't think you have done, from my knowledge, a really deep course. You have picked up a lot here and there and through Kieran, but this will give you the methodology, and it's also a course that people who want to start teaching storytelling could do. So you can learn some of the methods that we use. And it will give you a lot of ideas. I think that is the thing. I still do basic courses because when I go and I see, what somebody is doing, and that's a good idea. I could use that, in my teaching, but also in my storytelling. Yeah. There is no sort of limit to how much you can learn. That's what, if you ask me, that's why I would say.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I think because Ashima. I think so, because you're very much the improvisation aspect of your storytelling is very strong, but this would help you with the preparation side, so that your
structure
exactly.
Structure. I think that would be very helpful for you, and and you'll be able to take it to different levels as well. Which is the same for all of you, whatever your level of experience for telling. Because each of you will receive information that suits you, because we're adult learners. What suits you, and also what you get out of it, and then you'll make the connection to, say, your work perhaps, or different aspects. Oshima teaches English, so then again, how are you going to use what you learn to your class, perhaps. Yeah, Fajar is doing her dissertation now, so maybe she will get some ideas as she practices telling, in addition to her reading. So that's different. Ashley just wants to learn, so she just wants to learn and have fun. I get you, Ashley. No problem. Zip, I'm sorry, we need to know a little bit more about you. I don't know enough about you, and Michelle. Yeah.
It would help Zip, I think, because Zip is already doing a lot of storytelling. She's got her own podcast. She's doing video things in Vietnamese and English. But again, she hasn't yet had the real deep foundation. She's got.
Oh.
Tang, as they say in Singapore, it's coming soon, right? Number 2. But I think it would benefit, and we see the level of your talent, Zip, and I think this would take you up a notch.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So
add one more thing for Oshima.
Oh, thank you.
Oshima, there's a part of you that you're always stressed about, that you haven't got it enough, in spite of all the improvisations and the confidence. I think this will fill that part, that gap that you feel inside. I think you'll have that eternal confidence. I know my stuff, because you do.
Thank you. I'm very much encouraged.
very good. Yeah. So yeah, Zip and I are going to be doing a bilingual story in the 398.2 festival in whenever it is, September or something. So it's a very famous Vietnamese folktale. So then, when you've taken this course, you'll be able to tell me what I'm doing wrong and how we can work better. Okay. Of course, you really ought to come to the conference in Jakarta and take part in Kieran's workshop on tandem storytelling, because that's what we're going to be doing. Because that's another dimension again, when you've got to work with a partner.
The festival, so she can't.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But then she can apply what she's learned from working with an old codger like me and bring it to the festival. Great. Well, listen, I think this has been very good. I hope we've answered your questions. It sounds as though we've certainly encouraged Oshima, which is good. We'd love to have you there. It seems we've got a really good mix of people. If we got you, all of you here today, plus the 2 that we've got signed up, we'd be 7 or 8 people, wouldn't we? So that would be fantastic. We'd certainly confirm straight away that the course was going right ahead there. Okay.
Yeah. So there's other people who are waiting for the recording. So
yeah. Good.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, one and all. We look forward to spending more time with you. And as I say, if you have any more questions, don't be afraid to drop us a mail at foos. What is it? The Foundations of Oral Storytelling. We didn't quite realize.
Yeah. We were like, oh gosh, is this a good name? A good name? Foos. Can you write it in the chat? Is foos course right at gmail.com?
Yes, I'm putting it here.
Yeah. So if you have anything saying that, oh shucks, I should have asked that. You just drop us a line.
Yeah.
We'll.
Yeah. and we'll keep you up to date with the foos news.
Oh dear.
Good. Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's been lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good.
Bye.